Hey everybody, here to talk to you today about something that's really good.
He's a tough man. Since he knows our secret, he has to be killed.
Hey everybody, V-Spot Joel here today. We're going to be talking about the Youde Zephyrus, one of the newest Sub Ohm tanks on the market. And I've been using this for about a week, and I got to say I'm pretty impressed. So we'll talk a little bit about its features and maybe some of the reasons why I'm impressed. So here's a brand new one in the box, currently using this. You can see that one of the things that I have on here right now that's actually down here is this little extender for the drip tip. This is a top fill tank, so the top piece comes off, and the drip tip is actually two pieces on this guy, and we'll show that in a second. It's got nice changeable O-rings in there, so it comes with the red, white, and blue, very patriotic. And it's got a nice wide airflow Cylon style hole, or two holes on the bottom here, with a nice smooth airflow control ring on there. I think I maybe already said it's got 5 milliliter capacity, which is head and shoulders above kind of your standard 3 milliliter capacity that you're seeing on some of the other clearamizers out right now, like the sub tanks, the Atlantis 2, Heracles, the Arctic. They're all floating right around 3 milliliters of capacity. This thing has, from the factory, a 0.3 ohm dual coil. It's organic cotton. It is huge. It is packed with cotton that is super absorbent. I've really been putting this thing through a torture test the last week. I've been changing flavors of juices frequently. I've been changing PG-VG ratios. I've done everything from 50-50 to like 90% VG in this thing. And it's just now starting to protest a little bit. I'm amazed at how good the flavor changes quickly. It doesn't get a lot of linger, which is really surprising considering how much cotton is in this sucker. Mad airflow. So, you know, a zephyr is a wind. So I think this thing is appropriately named because the airflow on this is fantastic, and I'll give it a quick vape here just to kind of demonstrate what we're dealing with here. And I'm currently running this at 45 watts in soft mode on an SX Mini M class. I'm not using the temperature controls. This is the standard coil that came with it. It is very, very airy, great flavor, great vapor production. I'm really having a hard time finding some bad things to say about this. I do have a couple of gripes that we'll see if it was unique to this one issue, or this one tank that I got, or whether it's like that for all of them, but they're minor quibbles. Overall, I'm super impressed with this thing. So I think what we can do is probably just open this bad boy up, and we'll take a look at all the different pieces. And I do have the other components in here laid out. As you can see, there's extra glass, pyrex glass that came with it. So if you break one, you've got another one available. This is the RBA head, and I'll show you this one as I'm taking it out here. So it's relatively big. And when you open this up, this sucker has 4 3 millimeter airflow holes on here, and then it also likewise has 4 juice channels at each corner. And I mean, these juice channels are really big compared to something like the sub tank. This thing is just really well designed, nice machining, absolutely beautiful. It performs extremely well. I haven't used the RBA yet, but I think maybe what we'll do for this video is actually do a quick build, and we may just cut that out and go straight to the results here for you to not make you sit through all of that. But so it comes with the RBA, and again, Here's the extra pyrex, and here are the heatsink fins that extend the drip tip. So out of the box, you can see it's got this real short little drip tip, but the chimney on this thing and the airflow tube, they're really wide. I mean, this thing is just mad airflow, and this one does seem to also have the same issue that I had with mine. So when I first got this thing out, that was a week ago, and Josh, I don't know if you can zoom in on my fingers here, but I've got all of these lines across my fingers, and I was a bloody shredded mess from trying to take that top cap off. Whoever torqued this thing down must have used like a air wrench or something like for your wheels, I swear. So I can demonstrate with this one how the heck I got that off. That was my biggest battle with this thing. And once I got it apart, holy cow, it was totally worth it. Again, we can see here's the airflow control ring. This actually just slides right off. The other thing that you want to note is that it only goes on one way, and you want to put it on such that the thicker band is at the top, and that'll let it line up properly. The sizing in there is different, so if you try to put it on upside down, it won't go on. So don't force that because you will break it. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off, and I'm going to try to unscrew this thing here, and we'll take a look at the stock coil in this thing. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the coil here, and we'll take it out and let you take a gander at this sucker. So if you take a look in there, I mean, it's just absolutely packed with cotton, and I didn't think there was any way that you'd be able to switch between flavors on this thing and not have just constant bleed throughout the life of the next tank. But this sucker is so efficient. The airflow is so good. It's so good at switching up between flavors that, like, really it's like one or two hits where you might get some carryover flavor. And I mean, looking down through there, I don't know if you can see on the bottom how wide the airflow channel is down here. But when you turn this sucker around, you can actually see daylight through there looking down through the center. So nice wide open design and solid machining on this thing. I mean, there's just everything just feels so nice. I'm really impressed with this thing. Between the sub-tank and this, the sub-tank used to be my favorite, and I think now this one's actually my favorite. And again, it comes with the white O-rings on here out of the box. And this one is actually reserved for Josh. And so Josh, you want red?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll first switch up the O-rings on here.
Red is fun.
Sure. You know, I mean, you know, I didn't want anyone to confuse it with a sub-tank, so I went with the blue rings myself. And they do give you extra O-rings and gaskets for everything and a second plug for the top fill. I guess we should probably get the dirty work down. If you try to hold this thing and take it off with your bare hands, you're just going to shred your fingers. So let me do what I did with mine. So I've got two general purpose rags here. They may look dirty, but they're reasonably clean. So we're going to tighten this sucker down. There we go. Hopefully that's got a good hold on it. So then when I got that around the outside, then we'll take a second rag and we'll put it around that. And this is just so that I don't scratch anything up, because it is such a nice looking device that it would suck to wreck this thing out of the box. So, and then we'll try to see if we can't get it loosened up, and I think I just got it. Yep. So I'll go ahead and loosen that and release the vice grips, and then we'll dispose of these. And then that top piece now comes off easily. I don't know how the hell they fastened that down at the factory. I mean, they just torqued it all the way down. You can see the top fill plug right there. All right, so Josh, you want me to do the RBA build on this, or you want me to do you want to do just the standard coil on this thing and see what it's like?
I don't know. I'm almost kind of tempted to do the standard coil, but I mean, we could do
This coil is really good. I don't know. I mean, I think this thing is better than most RBAs that I've used. I'm excited to try the other one, and maybe so. Let's just do this first, and we can do the RBA on mine if we want. Maybe insert the performance there after the fact. So I got your O-rings on there, and looking at this other one, the thing that I love about these O-rings is that they've got 2 fins on them. I mean, you can see what a nice tight seal they create. Like, there's no juice even in between those two. So one is doing the job, but I mean, this is just a really well thought out device. As you can see in the drip tips, they're rifled to help swirl the vapor. Whether that does anything for vapor production or not, I don't know. But the flavor out of this thing is just banging. Every juice that I put in here is really good. So I'm super impressed with this design. Now, I did try to use the short drip tip originally on its own, and it did get a little warm for my taste because I tend to chain vape a fair amount throughout the day. But adding this extender with the heat sink fins on it it remedies that problem really quickly. It's almost impossible to fire this thing enough to burn your lips with that heat sink on there. So enough flapping my gums here, I guess. Let's go ahead. And it is a top fill, so what flavor you want in here, buddy?
We could go with, you want to do Loopy Pebbles?
Yeah.
I've been kind of digging that lately. Total Vapes is once again rocking my taste buds.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just pre-wick this. We'll put a couple drops, let it soak into the cotton here. Whoops, and of course I'm making a mess. That's what I'm good at. Gotta stick with what you know. Get it primed. And this sucker, I mean, it just soaked all of that up right away, and I can still see dry cotton down in there. So I'm gonna give it like a couple more drops here and just make sure that's super saturated to improve our performance right out of the gate with this sucker. And it is just so absorbent, wicks so well. I think this one was yours. We may have swapped tanks. Nice tight fit there. And then we'll put this sucker on here and then screw that down. Maybe. There it's going. Everything lines up nice with this sucker too. Like, it doesn't take anything for that to catch. So there we go. That's nice and tight. We'll go ahead and pull that gasket out. And let's fill her up. And again, 5 milliliter capacity. Keeps you vaping a bit longer than you would on a Heracles or an Arctic.
Oh gosh, just totally take the camera like a professional.
That's cool.
You know, that's what we do here.
I mean, earthquake!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to wipe that out. That's the other thing I really like about this thing. If you keep it clean, this thing does not get a lot of juice building up in the top like you can get with a sub tank. And here I'll show you why. Because when you screw this cap, whoops, I almost forgot a really important part. Why is it leaking?
Why are you leaking, Brett?
They're called amber lamps.
Ambulance. You leaking?
So you can see the inside of this top cap is flush with the inside of the chimney in there, or of the air tube. So when you put your drip tip in there, you don't have that little lip like you get on other clearamizers. Like, I think here's an Arctic as an example, and I'm betting that if I take this off of here, yep, see how dirty and gross that sucker is? Because it's got that recessed gap with a lip in there. since you don't have that on this thing, it stays super clean. Like, I'm getting really good at refilling this tank and not having to invest in a paper towel company to fund my cleanup efforts. So super nice when fully assembled. And we'll go ahead and swap these out and take mine off of here. Ooh, do have some liquid underneath though. If you let it sit upright, I've noticed like overnight it does tend to condense and pour out. And don't want to forget the airflow ring. Putting it back on. And the recommended operating range on this is 20 to 50 watts. I've been using it in soft mode recently at 45 watts. With a new coil, I do like to start it out lower. Like I always start at the bottom. Now at 20 watts on this thing, you don't get any vapor production. And even though I've pre-wicked this, what I'm also going to do is close the airflow completely off and just give it a couple tugs and then work the airflow ring back and forth to let air in intermittently. But that'll help prime it and draw some additional liquid into the cotton and make sure we're super saturated before we start firing this thing. So I don't know if there were any air bubbles coming up from that or not. It may be reasonably okay. But again, at 20 watts, we're not going to see a lot of vapor. I just like to break it in nice and slow. So at 20 watts, you get a little wisp of vapor, but at least it didn't go dry. I'm going to run it up to standard at 20. And then we'll go ahead and put it back in soft. And then run it up to about 30 watts. We'll go 10 watts at a time. That's close enough. So even at 30 watts, you get a little bit of vapor production out of it. Flavor's not banging at this point. Actually, it's not bad. It's surprising how good.
That's at 30?
That's at 30 watts right there. So let's run it up to 40. Yeah, it's coming alive. I mean, this sucker, run it up to 45. This thing is really, really good on the flavor. I mean, even the first few draws are catching the flavor really well. So I'm super impressed with how good this thing is just right away. And I guess we'll go ahead and run it all the way up to 50. Yeah, that's good. I mean, there's just something super satisfying about this. Really a full flavor, nice throat hit. I love to do a direct lung hit off of this, and I mean, it's a very satisfying, gratifying vape. Oh yeah, see, now it's really starting to pick up. I mean, it took me about an hour, I think, for the coil to start hitting peak stride. But even the first few hits off of this thing are absolutely fantastic. And for the price on this, I think they're about $30 right now, and worth every penny. I think this is every bit as good as a sub tank. The only gripe that I had again was how tightly they ratchet this down. So people who resort to tools might scratch it up, taking it apart if you don't stick some rags in there to protect the finish. But I love the top fill on this thing. And the juice lasts quite a long time. Like the Heracles and the Arctic, I've been using those a lot prior to this. But the problem with those is that at 60 watts, you're going through an 18650 and a tank of juice every hour. With the 5 mils running at about 45 watts, I'm getting about 3 hours of use out of it. And that's pretty heavy, consistent use for those 3 hours. So really, this thing just hits all the sweet spots in terms of price, performance, and just overall quality. Everything is nice and smooth on this. Threading's all nice and clean. Airflow rings swivels nice and smooth. All of the gaskets are nice and tight. Like I said, I just don't have a lot of leaking issues like this with this like I do on some of the other clearamizers. So Youde's hit the nail on the head with this sucker. Just overall an exceptional value. And from what I understand, their long-term support is fantastic. I think this has a 1-year warranty, just like the rest of their products. So if you have problems with this thing, I think you can hit them up, tell them what the problem is, and they'll help you figure out what the issue is. I've heard of them sending parts to people, even with their older products, when they do revisions and updates. They make the upgraded components available at no cost to their customers. So I'm hoping that if they have any upgrades to this thing, which at this point I don't even see as being necessary, but again, I've only used it for a week, but super impressed so far. I think the overall value proposition with this is fantastic, and it offers just an outstanding vape. Loopy Pebbles, man. That stuff is one of my new favorites. That and Pearberry. I probably go through 3 bottles each a week. So this thing has my wholehearted endorsement on this. Really not a lot of quibbles or gripes about this thing. If you think you might be interested in this, honestly, you're looking for a Sub Ohm clearamizer and you don't have one yet, this is a good starting point. Or you have a sub tank, like a mini or something like that, or a nano, and you like the performance, but you'd like to get a little bit more capacity out of it, I think this sucker is probably really what you're looking for if you're looking to upgrade from something like that. And hell, even if you're using older clearamizers like a Nautilus or the first gen Atlantis, I think this is a nice step up, and bang for the buck, just absolutely phenomenal. So with all of that, I love doing that too. I love blowing through the Cylon and having it shoot out the top. I mean, that's how good the airflow is in this thing. Like, it's just no resistance to the airflow. Super smooth vape. So, check it out on our website at vspotvapes.com. I'm sure Josh will put the link to the product on the YouTube page, and this will probably get nested in the product page. So if you think this looks like a good deal, by all means, check it out. Check us out as well on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram, we're everywhere. Tinder. So Tinder. Swipe left. I don't even know anymore. I'm old. Just absolute great tank. Check it out. Give it a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And as always, vape on.
Vape on. Now can I have my Youde? Can I have my Zephyrus?
Yeah, absolutely. Give that a shot.
Do I get the M class attached?
We could work out an installment agreement.
Work out a deal.
Yeah. Just make 20 monthly payments of $50, and it's yours. And it's pretty too. I mean, look at the vapor, just the residual coming off of that thing. It's so pretty. It looks like a badass. Just like, yeah, I'm in business. That's what he says. I give all my clearamizers and tanks personalities and voices.
Want to have a few drinks and smoke a joint, Bubbles? Yes.